This is Glasgow Rangers Nation. I am Owen James, and this is your Rangers news channel, guys. We are going to bring you up to date with all the latest stories surrounding the greatest club in the world, our boys in blue. Right, I've got a story about a winger who could be joining Rangers. A story I actually thought was a load of rubbish when I first read it, but I'll explain that in a moment. We've got a Yanis Hagi update, obviously to thrill the female fans out there who love a bit of Yanis. Let's face it, he is a good-looking guy. We're also got a little bit of an update on Hannibal the Cannibal, or Hannibal Majbri, as he's alternatively known. A little bit of a rumour still going around about Robbie Matondo. We've also got some Alex Lowry news. What else have we got? Some Todd Cantwell news. We've got the whole shebang and the 8th carriage as well for you this day, this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whenever you're watching this video. Right, let's start off with the link to this winger and the supposed initial bid that has been rejected. Now, I've got to admit, when I first read this story, I actually thought it was made up. I actually genuinely thought someone was having a laugh. Now, the reason I thought that someone was having a laugh was because of the fact of the name of the football team that this player plays for. Now, you know, around the world, there are some very, very interesting football team names. You know, Orlando Pirates. I mean, what a fantastic name for a football team. The Kaiser Chiefs. Yeah, obviously, the team came before the band, for those of you who are aware of Kaiser Chiefs, the band from Leeds, who are absolutely fantastic. Ricky Wilson and Kaiser Chiefs. Haven't listened to them? Give them a listen. Yeah, some great names, some amazing names of teams, you know. I mean, just some legendary names. Sheriff, I mean, that's another good name. But this team, I think, takes the biscuit. It really does. Or takes the Sphinx or something like that. It is Pyramids FC. I mean, yes, that is a real football team. Pyramids FC. I'm not making that up. I'm not just, I'm genuinely not. That is a real football team. I did some research. I looked into it. Once this story came out, I genuinely looked at it and genuinely thought that it was made up, but it isn't. It really exists. The player that we've allegedly been linked to, and obviously apparently have made an initial bid which has been rejected, is an Egyptian player who plays for Pyramids FC. Yes, where else would Pyramids FC play other than in Egypt? I suppose the British Museum. Let's face it, we've nicked a few over the years. We've got a few in there. Pyramids FC. Yes, the player is called Ibrahim Adel Ali Mohammed, goes by the name of Ibrahim Adel. He is an Egyptian under-23 international, 23 years old, 1.73 meters tall. That's just under 6 foot. That's quite a way under 6 foot, actually. He's Egyptian, obviously, playing for Pyramids FC. I mean, let's face it, you couldn't be anything else, could you, really? He's not a mummy, don't worry. He's not a sphinx. He is a left winger who is right-footed. So again, we've got that inverted attack where you'd have Cheney on the right with the left and Adel on the left with the right. I think that's right. He is currently with Pyramids FC. He joined them in 2019. He's under contract until 2029. He's on a 10-year contract there. I mean, that's a Chelsea-esque contract. His last extension came in 2024. Now, why has Ibrahim Adel suddenly become to the forefront of Rangers' attention? Now, we know that Niels Coppen, and we'll talk a little bit about his stats and his positions in a moment. We know that Niels Coppen likes to shop, likes to go all over the world, likes to look at different players. You know, the African market is something he's now looked at. We know that, obviously, you know, with Hamza Igman, who came from FC Rabat in Morocco, and now he's shopping in Egypt. I mean, I don't know, perhaps Coppen went on holiday to Egypt and suddenly saw this team. I don't know. Anyway, this player has come across his interest. Now, why this player? Well, apparently he was one of Egypt's starring players at the 2024 Paris Olympics. He scored in their 2-1 win over Spain in the group stage. I think they finished 4th, I think, in the Olympic tournament. I think, top of my head, can't remember, didn't really watch a lot of it. But, you know, he was a star player within that team. So, you know, again, he is one of those players that, again, we're kind of spreading the net far and wide and looking beyond the obvious markets. And, you know, this is often a way, isn't it? You know, you can kind of go out there and get a little bit of, get a little bit of value, a little bit of talent, a little bit of quality there. You know, you really can. Yeah, Egypt finished fourth. They lost 6-0 to Morocco in the bronze medal match. The gold medal match obviously was won by Spain, who Egypt actually defeated in the group stages. So in terms of this Ibrahim Adel, he is a player who can play as centre forward, as a right winger and as a left winger, primarily of course as a left winger. All his experience has come for Pyramids FC. I just love that name, Pyramids FC, where he's made 134 appearances for them, scoring 34 goals with 11 assists, so 45 goal contributions in 134 games. He's played 96 games in the Egyptian Premier League. He's played in the African Confederations Cup, which is, again, he's played in the Egypt Cup. He's played in the African Champions League, the Egyptian Super Cup, and the Egyptian League Cup. So obviously all his experience has come in Africa and in the Egyptian leagues. Yes, obviously he has played in the African Champions League against other teams from across Africa. So look, I mean, obviously that is the one concern, not being anti-African. That's right. That's the one concern, is that he has not got any experience of playing in Europe. He would need time, I think, to adapt. And the question has to be, do we have time for players to adapt? Or is this another project signing with other signings coming in on top of that, like Bracalo and et cetera, et cetera? I don't know. I'm just reporting what's out there. It does seem a very random link. I think obviously one of the benefits of shopping in these alternative markets is the fact that, the price is a lot lower. This guy I think would cost less than £3 million. It is apparently a bid that's been made for a permanent move. It's not a loan. I think obviously some fans will be wary after the Hamza Igman situation, where obviously he came over unfit, hasn't played, has taken time, whereas Adel has been playing recently. He played in the Olympics. He has played in the Egyptian Premier League since he's come back, so he is actually match fit. And I think, look, any signing's a risk, no matter where you bring the players in from, whether you bring them in from France, from Spain, from Germany, from America, from South America, from Scandinavia, from Eastern Europe, from Asia, wherever you bring them in from, they're a risk. And I think Celtic, obviously they took that risk when they signed the players from Japan who've gone on to be great successes. Maybe that this is a market for Rangers that we can exploit. African players and the African nations are growing in talent and growing in ability. The players we've got at the club in terms, obviously Mohamed Diamande, he's quality. Quality player. Ivory Coast just been called up to the full Ivory Coast national team, along with the likes of Frank Kessler, who obviously used to play for AC Milan. So, this is an interesting move. And I think it does clearly show that, given the links to Thiago Gouveia, to Joseph Bracalo, there is a real desire within the club to go and get a left winger. I think obviously with the situation with Cortez obviously returning, but, there is obviously going to be needs to kind of slowly reintroduce him to the team, isn't there? Hence the need perhaps for another signing in that position. So, as well, strength in depth is always a positive. We've got Cheney, we've got Cortez when he's fit. Beyond that, you've got McCausland, Matondo. Now, there's still rumours circulating about Matondo exiting. I did read an article earlier that said that Leeds United apparently are back in or are interested in Rabbi Matondo. I don't know about any truth in that. I mean, it was denied by Leeds and it was denied by a number of Leeds in the no sources. So I don't know what the truth is behind the whole Matondo to Leeds situation. But this one seems very interesting, shall we say. And like I said, I must admit, the best ever name of a football team I have ever heard, Pyramids FC. I mean, just different class. That's the lad there, Ibrahim Adel. One to look out for, one to watch out for coming up perhaps this week. It's Tuesday today. Come on, Rangers. Tuesday today. Let's get some signings over the line before that deadline. Let's get our business all put together before that horrible deadline. When we're all scrabbling around, getting nervous. Let's just get it done. Right. So, look, exits. That's one of the big talking points. Who's going out? We've talked a little bit about who's incoming. Like I said, I talked on the Premier yesterday. Obviously, for those of you who commented, the reason I wasn't bringing your comments up is because it wasn't live. It was recorded and then put on as a Premier, which means you can have a live chat, but you can't obviously interact with the person on the screen because it's not live, if you get what I mean. That's a really shit explanation, Owen. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit of this man here, Yanis Hagi. Look, I'll be honest with you. I think Yanis Hagi is a top player. I think, in terms of ability, in terms of talent, in terms of, what he can bring to a team, he is very good. Technically very gifted. His passing ranges are good. And I think, for me, the one thing that you kind of look at and kind of think of with Yanis was that performance in the Euros. He was very good in the Euros for Romania. Now, there is discussions around him going to Rapid Bucharest. Now, it appears that is now dead. It appears that he is not interested in going to Rapid Bucharest. He doesn't want to go back to Romania. He doesn't want to sign for the rival to Stoya. Now, this may come on the back of some of the comments that his dad has been making. I don't know how much interest Yanis actually, or how much attention that Yanis actually pays to his dad. But this is what Hagi Senior had to say when he was questioned about Yanis going to Rapid Bucharest, who we know are the rivals to Stoya. This is a quote. When quizzed about his son's future before the clash with UTA, Hagi Senior bluntly responded, "I'm not talking about that. We're talking about us. Go ask him. I have my club, my team. I don't want to talk, even if it's about my boy." So it seems that he is a little bit annoyed and irritated at, number one, the speculation, and number two, I suppose, the prospect of his son joining the big rival to Stoya. So, look, I honestly feel, reading what I've read and looking at the articles, listening to the quotes from Hagi Senior, listening to what Yanis has been saying, I don't feel that is going to happen. I think, Rapid Bucharest came in with an offer. This is what the reports are. And that offer was to make Yanis Hagi their highest paid player. However, that offer was still less than what he gets paid at Rangers. So that shows obviously where they're at in terms of wage structure. And also, that it's not just about wages. Hagi I don't think, wants to go back to his native Romania. I don't think he's ready to return home yet. If Hagi was, say, 10 years older than he is now, or 8 years older than he is now, that this may be an option. He may want to return home. He may want to go back to his homeland and ply his trade over there. But it does look very much like that this is definitely not happening. Look, yes, disappointing. Yes, we'd love to get Hagi off the wage bill and obviously make some space for these players to come in. But, realistically, we're not going to force him out. You've got to kind of hope, like I said, that there is some other option there. There is some other European option there for him, to come over and get him to be more attractive to Yanis. Like I said, I do feel that Yanis is not attracted by a move home to Romania. Okay, so look, I mean, for me, what I would actually like to see happen with Yanis is his representatives and Rangers sit down around a table, agree something, because it does appear that the only not the only reason, but one of the main reasons behind why he's not been picked or given the opportunity to play is this alleged £6,000 a year extra, £6,000 a week extra, sorry, if he gets this extra appearance, his 100th appearance. So I'd love Yanis and his representatives to sit down with the club, agree something. If it is that we can't get a 10 in this window and Yanis doesn't move on, then that's what we need to do for me to get Yanis back into the playing staff. Because I'll be honest with you, out of all the 10s we now have at the club, and with the likelihood that Alex Lowry is now going to depart, Todd Cantwell obviously wants out. There's developments there. Hagi does want out. We don't really know. He's the best we've got. He's better than Tom Lawrence. And like I said, this false narrative that he's too slow is ridiculous when you look at Tom Lawrence, who is hardly a whippet himself. So look, that's what I think, personally with the whole Hagi situation. I like him as a player. I think he's a very talented player. He played well in the Euros. He looked good against the Netherlands, who got to the semi-finals. Like I said, if you go to an international tournament like the Euros and you play well and you look good against top international teams, you've got to be doing something right. And that's what I kind of put this into. Right, okay, let's look at the next little bit of news here. Alex Lowry. Now, look, we would all have loved this to work out. We would all love Alex to be having a starring role for Rangers. Because let's face it, there is nothing more satisfying than having a player come through your academy, a Scottish player, a Rangers guy, comes through, plays for the first team, becomes one of the star players in the first team. And, you look at him and you say, he's one of us. He's one of our own. He came through the system. He came through our academy. He's a talented lad. Loves watching him on a match day. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear to have worked out for Alex, whether this is down to his attitude, which some people have questioned, or just, the lack of chances he's had at the club, or the fact that when he has had a chance, he hasn't taken it, or maybe he isn't as good as we think he is. There's a whole plethora of examples why we could be facing this situation. Now, reports in a number of sources, including south of the border, I'm not going to burst into Ed Sheeran and Camila Cabello's song, have said that Carlisle United of League Two, that really does show, isn't it, something about how far some of these players have fallen, that a League Two English team are asking about them. Apparently, Carlisle United have inquired about the potential deal for Alex Lowry. Apparently, the League Two team wants to take him on loan before the transfer deadline on Friday. According to a lot of reports, him and Adam Devine, who also I don't think has had a fair crack of the whip, have been told they can both leave the club and they are surplus to requirements and not part of the project. Clement has, of course, talked about talking to players and telling them that they're not part of the project. Now, Lowry has not obviously played a great deal of minutes with the first team. He's played mostly B-team football. He scored a couple of goals the other night, looked decent in the B team. He obviously went on loan last season to Hearts, did well for a short period, then was sent back because he was injured. Also, it came around the time of all the rumours about Shankland and swap deals and etc., etc. But it is, his contract expires at the end of this season. So, I think this is a situation of a goodbye to Alex. I think if he does head out on loan for the rest of this year, then that will be it. Maybe in January you could persuade Carlisle to spend a little bit of cash on him. But I think, if he does head off to Carlisle United, then this is the end of Alex at Rangers. And it'll be sad. It'll be sad because, like I said, I like Alex. I think he's a good lad. But I don't think it's worked out for him. I just think that, as much as we might want it to have done, something he's not quite right there. There is something just stopping him making that next step to become that top player we all hoped he could have become. I think he does kind of raise a few questions, over him as well. When it's only Carlisle United that are inquiring about him, which are League Two team. If it was a Championship team, you'd be kind of like, well, yeah, he's still a good player. But what does this say? I don't know. It's a strange one. It's a strange one. Right, let's finish off. You know what? I'm getting a bit bored of this now, but you know what? It's in the news. Cantwell. Nothing. There's just literally nothing at this moment in time in terms of links to him. There has been renewed calls from a number of ex-players and a number of journalists and a number of analysts for Rangers to terminate his contract, seeing this as the only way to actually get Cantwell off their books. I think the reasons being that they're fearful of the distraction that this player causes. He clearly does cause a distraction with his social media activities. The fact that he's refusing to play for the B team, we know what happens when you have a bad apple in a barrel. It can turn the rest of the apples. So, look, I can understand all that. I genuinely can understand all that. And I can understand Rangers terminating his contract. Now, the downside, obviously, if you terminate someone's contract, is you've got to pay their contract up. Cantwell is, still under contract. He still has a number of years to run his contract. He will be due a substantial amount of money. Have Rangers got that much money to just splurge out on getting rid of Cantwell for nothing? Or is this a situation where we do hang on to him till the end of the transfer window and we hope that someone comes in for him? If that doesn't happen, then maybe we do have to take that decision post-transfer window closing, because I'll be honest with you, we can't have him sat on £25,000 a week. I don't think he's ever going to play for Rangers again because of two reasons. One, like I said on the video yesterday morning, his relationship with Philippe Clement is over. I think it's ended, and I think it's inexorably broken. And also that his relationship to some of the fans as well is so badly broken. It would take a miracle for him to get them back on side. So I do feel that, that maybe if we can't get rid of him by Friday, that this could be a situation where we do actually have to terminate and pay up his contract, which would be very, very costly and very bad management and very bad business from the club. I guess only time will tell on this one. Only time will tell. So guys, look, we've covered a few things this morning, this afternoon, this evening. Depends obviously when you picked up the video. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. As always, look, if you've liked the content, fantastic, love it. Please smash the like. If you haven't, don't worry about it. Thanks for watching. As always, please remember, we are the people. Oh yeah, I forgot. Hannibal. Apologies. Hannibal has joined Burnley on a loan with an option to buy at the end of the season, so he isn't coming. There you go. That was the thing I forgot to mention. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.